Leafs Nation. What if I told you the Maple Leafs are being linked to a big-name defenseman, a guy who was just scratched, makes elite money, and could instantly change the entire dynamic of this blue line? Yeah, this is real. And it could be one of the most controversial, risky, and fascinating trade ideas we've heard all season. Before we dive in, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and help us hit our goal of 500 subscribers. This channel is just getting started, and if you're a real Leafs fan, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, let's talk about it. According to a report from Jimmy Murphy of RG Media, the Toronto Maple Leafs are among several teams linked to New Jersey Devils defenseman Dougie Hamilton. Yes, that Dougie Hamilton. The 32-year-old right-shot defenseman was a healthy scratch recently against the Winnipeg Jets, and the moment that happened, trade speculation exploded around the league. And when you actually look at Toronto's situation right now, this connection starts to make a lot of sense. Let's be honest, Leafs Nation, the blue line is hurting. With Chris Tanev injured, the Leafs are missing that stabilizing presence, and while the defense has battled, there's no denying the lack of a true top-pair offensive defenseman who can move the puck, quarterback a power play, and play big minutes. Dougie Hamilton does exactly that. This season and historically, Hamilton has been one of the most productive defensemen in the NHL. Multiple 50-plus point seasons, career average close to 0.6 points per game. One of the league's most consistent offensive blue liners over the past decade. He's not a shutdown guy like Tanev. He's a game driver, and that's where the debate starts. Here's where things get complicated. Hamilton carries a $9 million cap hit for the next 2.5 seasons. For the Leafs to even make this remotely possible, Toronto would almost certainly need to place Chris Tanev's 4.8 on LTIR. The Devils would likely need to retain salary. One scenario floated is including Kalle Järnkrok in the deal. Why does that matter? Because Järnkrok has a 2.1 no-later cap hit, is familiar with Sheldon Keefe, helps reduce New Jersey's retention to roughly 2.4 B, or about 27% of Hamilton's contract. Even then, this isn't clean. This is where it gets really interesting. The Leafs do not have a deep asset pool. That's just reality. Names being floated as possible pieces: Simon Benoit, Nicholas Robertson, Ben Danford, possibly a young NHL-ready piece rather than pure futures. And that aligns with where New Jersey is as a franchise. They're not rebuilding. They want players who can help now. The key thing here is this. The Devils may want to move Hamilton, not just for hockey reasons, but to kill a growing distraction. We've seen this movie before in the NHL. Situations linger and value drops. Because of that, the return might not be massive. Another huge factor? Hamilton has a 10-team no-trade clause, and reportedly, Toronto was on that list. Add to that, familiarity with Brad Treliving. The chance to play for his hometown team. A Leafs roster that's still very much in the playoff hunt. That gives Toronto real leverage in any discussion. Now let me be very clear as a Leafs fan. This move is high risk, high reward. Dougie Hamilton improves puck movement immediately. Adds offense from the blue line, takes pressure off the forwards. Expensive, not a defensive first guy. Forces cap gymnastics. But ask yourself this, Leafs Nation. How many times have we said, this team needs something bold? This would be bold. And with the Coors window still open, you can argue this is exactly the type of swing Brad Treliving should at least explore. Now I want to hear from you. Would you trade for Dougie Hamilton if the price is right? Is the cap hit worth the upside? Or is this a move that scares you more than it excites you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk hockey. Leafs Nation. What if I told you the Toronto Maple Leafs might be on the verge of making a huge mistake, not by trading someone away, but by not paying a player who has earned every single dollar? This is about value. This is about timing. And this is about a guy who went from undrafted to becoming one of the most important forwards on this roster. Before we get into it, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and help us reach our goal of 500 subscribers. This channel is brand new, and if you bleed blue and white, you're in the right place. All right, let's talk about why the Leafs need to open the checkbook. The player we're talking about is Bobby McMann. And honestly, Leafs Nation, this shouldn't even be a debate anymore. Among all the Leafs pending unrestricted free agents this summer, guys like Scott Laughton, Calle Järnkrok, Troy Stecher, and Matt Benning, Bobby McMann should be at the very top of Brad Treliving's to-do list. Let's talk numbers, because numbers don't lie. Before Sunday's games, only 6 players in the entire NHL who will be unrestricted free agents on July 1st had scored more goals than Bobby McMann's 15. Let that sink in. We're talking about names like Alex Ovechkin, 20 goals, Artemi Panarin, 18 goals, Nick Schmaltz, 18 goals, Jordan Eberle, Alex Tuch, Kiefer Sherwood, 17 goals. That's elite company. McMann scored 20 goals in 74 games last season, and right now, he's on pace for 26 goals this year. And he's doing all of this while carrying a laughably cheap $1.35 million cap hit. That is absurd value. Now here's where some fans get nervous. What if he wants too much money? Let's be real. If Bobby McMann lands in the $4 to $5 million AAV range, that is completely reasonable, and honestly, a bargain. Why? Because the salary cap is exploding. $95.5 million this season. Projected $104 million in 2026-27. Projected $113.5 million the season after. In that cap environment, a 25-goal power winger at $4.5 million is not a problem. It's smart business. The only caution? Don't go crazy on term. 4 or 5 years max, that's it. This is where Bobby McMann becomes even more valuable. Craig Berube loves power forwards. And McMann checks every box. 6'2", 217 pounds, strong skater hustle every shift. Physical edge willing to go to dirty areas. Is he perfect? No. Could he bring that physical edge more consistently? Yes. But when he's on, he looks exactly like the type of winger Berube wants in playoff hockey. And let's not ignore this either. Recently, McMann has looked very comfortable playing left wing alongside Austin Matthews and Max Domi. That's not an accident. This part matters to me as a fan. Bobby McMann was undrafted. He didn't come in with hype. He didn't get special treatment. He signed an AHL deal with the Marlies in 2020, worked his way up, and developed inside this organization. For the Leafs to spend years developing him, only to let him walk in free agency, that would be organizational malpractice, especially when there's no clear 20-goal scorer coming up through the Marlies pipeline right now. Zooming out for a second, the Leafs are 9-1-3 in their last 13 games. They've shown guts. They've shown structure. They've won tough games in places like Colorado and Winnipeg. Goaltending has been solid. The team looks more connected. Now they're coming home for a 5-game homestand. Minnesota, Detroit, Vegas, Colorado, Buffalo. That's a serious test, especially with the wild card race tightening up. This is not the time to lose core contributors. Leafs Nation, this one is simple. You pay Bobby McMann. You reward development. You reward production. You reward fit. He's not asking for superstar money. He's asking for fair value. And if this team is serious about building a roster that can survive playoff hockey, not just skill, but size, speed, and edge, Bobby McMann is part of that answer. Now I want to hear from you. Would you pay Bobby McMann $4.5 million a year? How many years would you be comfortable with? And do you see him as a long-term piece next to Matthews? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's debate it. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to Leafs Nation Report, and help us reach our goal of 500 subscribers. This channel is just getting started, and your support means everything. I'm Victor. This is Leafs Nation Report. And as always, go Leafs go!